Greetings and welcome to the Voice of the People podcast with your host, Coach Neil, and Brother John. Our guest today is Sister Dasia Redman. We're going to share some beautiful stories and share spiritual experiences on how families come together to bless communities with their healing and with their spiritual thought process that we need today. So we're here at Voice of the People to speak, learn, understand, and praise the name of the Creator.
So our guest today, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, hello everyone. I'm Dasia Redman, co-founder of Replenish Well and Brands. It's so good to be in this space with both of you today. Thank you for having me, Coach. And John?
Yep.
Yes.
So, Coach was telling me that you do a lot of working with women, and I mean that's kind of close because my wife does the same thing. She's in that field. So why don't you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got there? You know, give us a background, and then we'll go from there.
So it's like a big question because there's so much. You know, I feel like what I'm going to talk about is a spiritual assignment. It's a spiritual assignment, and so the business is the vehicle. The purpose is the driver, and so our family has been blessed with this spiritual seed called Replenish. We've been in business for 17 years. We're the central hub for hospitality care and being well for the city of Columbus. We started off, on the forefront, spa experiences, right? Facials, massage, human-to-human connection, hands and feet, the traditional spa experiences. And then after the 7 years, and as the journey of the 17 years, we realized that this seed is within our DNA, right? It's I come from a lineage of Black women who have cared their way through. And I believe that that's a superpower in the Black woman lineage to care for the world. We've done it very well. My job in my generation is to evolve this care, this superpower that we have, to making sure that it's reciprocal and that the caregiver receives care. Because in my lineage, women have sacrificed themselves to better the lineage forward, to carry it forward. And care, when I speak of care, we'll be talking about care and wellness. I really want to make sure people understand what that means. We say that word a lot, but in the line of work that I do and the programs we create, care is connection, accessibility, restoration, and evolution. That's important to know because that's the lens that we look through. And it's an important lens in the spirit of the times we're living in. All right, and we can go into that, but I'm very grateful to share this work.
So you said your family. Is this a family business?
Yeah, my mom had a dream years ago before we were even conceptualized business-wise, and she has a superpower. I say superpower, innate ability of an imagination. She's legally blind. She can see, but there's a degenerative eye disease that runs in our family. I can't think of the name right now, but she's a massage therapist by trade, and that happened for her later in life. But she had a dream of having a bed and breakfast. And if you meet my mom, she just, how we were raised, when you come into her home, what you see, taste, touch, smell, feel, you're going to, your senses will be engaged. It's just always been her nature. And then she got into massage. My sister, Chanel, she's my older sister. She was a yoga teacher at a time where yoga wasn't even a thing, especially in the Black community. And then by trade, I'm an esthetician. And my sister went to college for genetic research and different things. I went to Earth School. I like to tell people that there's a whole path of non-traditional learning and education that is important to also talk about alongside university, college, those degrees.
Excuse my ignorance. What is an esthetician? Is that skin care?
Yeah, it's a big word, right? It sounds like I'm a surgeon. But spiritually, I feel like that's sometimes what happens, because it's an ancient these modalities that we're doing, it's rooted in ancient times. But esthetician skin therapy.
Yeah.
So the skin is the largest organ, right? And so that doorway opened up the whole world to me to look, to have the education of skin, and how that study alone opened up a whole world, and has influenced my whole entire life, and has been just a beautiful journey of unfolding, of learning the human body and how it works through the lens of skin. Yeah.
I do another podcast for a lady. One of her guests was an
You doing
esthetician.
Esthetician.
So that's, and I said, wait a minute, I know what that is.
Yeah. So what does your wife do? Because you mentioned that she's in the industry.
Well, she's in HR. But she
That's
is
caring for people, honey. Yeah.
And she just started a new job with what is it? Women's reproductive rights.
Oh yeah, it's big work.
And the lady who founded it, the company, I think she went on. She's a senator in some state now, but I don't really know a lot about what they do, but she's pretty active in the community, and the kind of sounds like some of the stuff you do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like care lives in every space, right? And so this purpose that we have as Black women, and I really speak on behalf of Black women, I mean, because this is something that is just, we hold invisible labor. And so wherever we are, there's care. And so you don't know it exists because some of this work that we're holding, the emotional components to well-being and the spiritual components to well-being, it's invisible, but when it's out the room, something's missing. It's like, where'd grandma go? The grandma energy, the energy that's holding the space, where'd it go? And so we're on a mission because our work is not just spa industry, but just well-being. And we always have to talk about, when we have any conversation now, the virtual world, the world of technology and AI, right? Alongside anything we're talking about, because that is definitely doing a number to the human condition. It's really, you talk about war, that's where there's some psychological wars happening now. That are physical, right? So it's a simultaneous, but now the energy, we got to think about the human energy, because now we're like managing two worlds, and we're not really thinking about it in that way. It's like, oh, I just go online, I do these things, but that's requiring our energy, and it's taking away from what's here now, like in front of us. So,
Now this room, I named it Knowledge and Wisdom Room. Well, people say, why was that? What's all that about? And I said, well, first thing, we have that balance of male-female. Now, wisdom, as far as Proverbs chapter 8, it speaks of wisdom as wisdom was here before the mountains were made, before the streams, the brooks, and the oceans. Wisdom was there to witness all this. So a lot of times, like you said, especially during this time period, there has been purposely a wedge. We had Dr. Myers in here talking with us, Dr. Linda Myers, male-female relationships. And that wedge is to destroy the family. If you keep those male-female relationships separated, then the children will suffer. So therefore, I really was interested in your take on the male-female relationships as far as, your sight. And especially when women have had to hold down the fort. And in my generation, John's generation, I remember the welfare people coming into the house, and if you had a man in the house,
you got to get out of there.
Check your closets, try to separate the kids. Is there a man living here? And so that spirit of negativity by those people still reigns in my spirit to this day, that they could just come in your house anytime and intercede upon your daily living habits. But they're trying to do that again today with even with the food, and I somewhat agree with the food, because I go to the grocery store sometimes, and I said, where the food at? They got no food in the cart. So to have principles where you can have children giving wholesome food to survive and live healthy. But my point being is that, in talking with you the last few times we talked, I was fascinated by you and your stories and your take on women, men, and spirituality. So just want to get a take. I know that's a lot, but
Yeah,
you know,
no,
we can
that's
do
good.
it.
I mean, it's good though. It's a topic that needs to be forward facing on the heart space for sure,
Yes,
especially
yes.
right now.
And you know, in
Yeah.
this, I see on social media a lot these younger women, and some of the back and forth between the sexes, between black men and black women, and it's just I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember us
it's
having
a
that
different game out here now.
kind of stuff back in the day. You know, like when if if a guy's working on fries, you know, oh you can't be with me. You working at McDonald's. You working on fries or something.
Yeah.
But a pretty girl could be working on fries at McDonald's.
And be just fine.
be
Welcome
just
to
fine.
McDonald's.
Yeah. But you see that, you see that it's almost like it's a divide. And that's another thing that we're divided in so many ways, by race, by color, by gender. So
Yeah, this is good.
and this, that's one of the control mechanisms that the divide and conquer.
Yeah.
I think I know Rick James he said it on one of Dave Chappelle's skits. It was a joke, but he said divide and conquer is a hell of a drug.
Yeah. We talk a lot about racism, and really underneath all of it is separatism. And what's happening now which is just the worst case scenario, is the separatism within the self. Right? It's like separatism everywhere. Now it's like breaking up the internal you. When you think about social media and the younger generation, how much emphasis they put on each channel. You can be this personality on Instagram and that personality on TikTok. And I see it, and it's just this performance. And so I think this is a whole big topic, because we talk about masculine and feminine. I think what's important to move into this conversation is there's a challenge happening, and within challenge, when there's a crisis or challenge, there's blessings and lessons at the table, and also what else is at the table. I think we have to mention, the capitalistic white supremacist structure. We have to, what else is at the table to kind of like consolidate, so where are we pulling this information from? I do think as a black woman, I am now in a space in my own life where I'm slowing down what I'm fighting for, because sometimes something turns the energy up on something, and we all try to solve the mystery or want to be a part of it. And so the movement of going back to work and the women movement, I love that, right? And as black women, we are not of this white supremacist capitalistic structure, but we've been living in it. And so I do think we've developed and accidentally adopted some of this.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And it's like GMO, you know what I mean? It's not our natural self. And so I feel, because I have walked a non-traditional path, that even in the institutionalized pathways, these algorithms of teaching people to turn up their performance, what I know, all of that is and then now women are we're out there way more than we are at home now. I had to learn that even in my business. It was I was pouring so much into the world that the family unit is starting to, the energy of the unit is starting to decrease.
That wasn't by accident.
Right, it's by design. So what do we do with this though? And how do we rectify this? And I think for the masculine, I think we're living in a time where it's and I think black men are the sensitivity of a black man is actually where their power is, right? And so now that the systems have dismantled in a way, I feel now what I'm noticing in men is all of these emotions are coming up, and you need to learn how to navigate the emotional space. But they told y'all, put those emotions away.
Don't cry.
Put it in a little container. I have a son who's 9. I realized, if I don't, I didn't want to raise him society's you need to get on him. He's a black boy. You need to do, no, they need hugs. And giving your son, the more hugs I give my son, the better his behavior is. He just needs hugs. And it's like, why wouldn't I give my son a hug? Like, he's got to grow up. He's too sensitive. And it's like, no. So I think there's some blurry lines that's happened. As a woman, I do want to watch jumping out there and being the support for the whole world, because I do believe the ripple starts with self, family, community, and then out into that order. Every now and then, you do have to go out into community, though, because community keeps the family accountable, too. So there's like a little flow in that space. I'm not answering any question. This is not an answer. This is some thought work, because I feel like part of the society we're living in, we are forced to seek answers. And I don't think that that's where the solutions are. I think it's in the questions, and I think it's in the spontaneity of this conversation where we can begin to generate organic matter again. And not this because, I can Google, look on the phone, hey, Siri, tell me this.
Yeah.
We are using different skill sets right now.
Oh.
We don't need the logic brain as much.
I go back in the day, I used to know everybody's phone number.
Oh my gosh.
I knew phone number. I didn't need to write them down. Today, I know about 2 phone numbers that I know by heart that I could just dial without looking at my phone and looking up their names.
Yeah, and every now and then I have to practice, because I don't want to lose the phone number. If I lose my phone, who am I going to call?
and cursive writing, we don't. I used to get F's in writing anyway in school, but my handwriting is even worse now because
you used to get F's in handwriting because you have an artful handwriting.
Yeah. We don't write anymore,
Yeah.
And you mentioned something about AI earlier. There's a lot of ambiguity there with the AI. I mean, I don't think it's going to be all that it's cracked up to be, because basically right now it's like a supercharged Google device or platform, but. I remember it was like maybe 7, 8, 9 years ago, there was an AI out there called Lucifer. And I've been meaning to look it up and see if it's still there. But why would you why would they name something like that? And see, that's how these people operate. And I say they operate in the shadows in plain view. They say stuff and we see it, we absorb it, we hear it, but we don't really take it in, like when one of these guys, like Bill Gates, was talking about he wants to block out the sun.
He's saying straight up what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Chemtrails.
Yeah. And you try to tell somebody about chemtrails, they will dispute you up and down. And that's that cognitive dissonance part of when your beliefs collide with what's real.
And now also disassociation is a part of that now. And that is, disassociation's happening just from the separatism of the self.
Yeah.
Like you're disassociating from your true essence.
I say with these data centers they're building, because I think, and this is down the rabbit hole a little bit, but
well, off we go.
Yeah. But you remember the Matrix, when they showed the Matrix, they showed Neo what the Matrix really was, that they were just people connected to these tubes and all of these big data centers they're building.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, man, this is getting scary.
Yeah, some of them say they'll be the new prisons, but going back to what you were saying earlier, off the cuff, back in the day, remembering phone numbers was part of my talking to the young lady.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to
give me your number.
I wasn't going to say that.
Oh, that was your thing. That was your niche. You had a niche.
Yeah. And then what you were saying, the hugs equals love. The way you put it, because we had dysfunction in the families, but we always had that love in the family.
Yeah.
The drinking and the cussing and the smoking and all those things, but there was love also.
Yeah.
So that was a balance that we had. But when we look at the situation that we have now, there's a lot of haterade, both sides coming at each other. Like, and you hit it on the head. People are wanting to be something that they're not knowing that who they are is the most important human being that they can be, with a little sprinkle of love and spirituality, the most important thing, whatever your spirituality may be.
Yeah, and it's just lost of purpose and intention, like the purpose of having the family. Like we got to get back to like why this matters actually. Like why does this matter? Why? Because right now it's like we can do anything. We can have, you can be with whoever, you can do it, whatever. It's just, self-ownership is the new business model. Period. Especially in this world that we're living in. You talk about AI. All of what is happening, the trickery here now for sure is, you think about the computer systems and all of that. We are the original
computer.
Right? Like the way I move, that's why I talk about superpowers and talk about innate abilities, because we're born with these traits. And like as Black people even, we have superpowers, right? So even when we're having this conversation or when I'm speaking, I'm a channeler of energy. For my company, I am the AI. All those words and all the culture and all of the way in which we show up for hospitality, it came from spirit, right? It didn't come from, and so we're relying now on that, and that's cool. It's going to be here. We're going to have to accept it. How do we become in healthy relationship with it?
Deal with it, right.
The self-ownership piece, though, is what do we need to protect? I like that aspect in me, so I can't exert that through AI because it's robbing us of our power and our energy. It really boils down to energy. How do we protect our human energy? Because what I know to be true is when you meditate, you get a lot of vitamin D, like your cellular generation is all happening. You know what I mean? And so how do we take that back and use, like Prince said, I think there was a quote that he said something about, you use the technology, not the technology use you.
Yeah, it did.
But we're getting lazy, and the instant gratification is silent and deadly. It's literally killing kids because, and I don't like to say that, but what's happening is, in virtual world, all of these things can take place, right? Fast, quick. I can be on Roblox. I'm over here now at the grocery store. Like this whole world is happening. I see my son playing. I had to stop him from playing these things because in real time, he's like, I don't know how to do anything because it takes longer to do. Like you got to keep practicing, son.
Yeah.
Like that's not, you don't just plant the seed and it just pops out, this beautiful vegetable. It takes it takes time.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a subliminal sickness happening that it's hard to catch in our children. And I'm afraid of that as a mother. That's the part that I'm like, ooh, we got to really talk about this because it's not seen right away. It's quick. All of a sudden, someone doesn't understand why they need to be here.
I've been seeing these ads on Facebook now about which has your child been damaged by social media, and like the lawyers called. You can. Something like, but they're slanting it all towards. The kids' mind, have they been, has their mind or forget the exact lingo that they use, but basically it's saying that has social media harmed your child? Yeah. In some
There's
some
lawsuits
way.
all across the nation.
And you remember back in the day when they had they said the backwards masking, they were playing music backwards and it was making, demonic people go out and kill. So we see these things they just take different forms. They rotate. I mean, all of that stuff that happened back then, and it's a new technology. Back then it was the music. Now it's the computer and the AI.
It's still the music.
Oh yeah.
Still the music.
Yeah, I mean that, and you know what gets a lot of kids say, oh, I don't listen to the words. I just like the music. I just listen to the music. But when you listen to the music, it goes straight to your subconscious, and the words, you can not listen to the words because that's a lot of them say, oh, I just like the beat, and the beat is hypnotic, and there's another rabbit hole to go down that too with the music. I won't go there, but but all of this stuff is designed to separate us from ourselves, from other humans. And they make everything so convenient, and here's one thing I'll end on. whenever you hear them say it's done for the kids, you know it's a lie. Because if they want to put these little tags and everything, oh, remember that commercial that came out of the Super Bowl where they were going to put tags on your dog and you never have a lost dog, and there was so much push because they want to use like the Ring cameras.
Yeah, it's all in Revelations.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
The mark of the beast, honey.
And
yeah.
I tell people that whether you believe it or not, there may be some people who are using this as their playbook. And, so if they make it happen, it's something's going to happen. It's just a matter on who you believe made it happen.
Yeah, so what do we do? What does this give birth to? This awareness.
Talking about the solutions.
Information.
Or just a question that spawns out of this, because, there's so much going on. And I think for me, it goes back to like, a business plan for yourself. Like, what are my core values? Like going back to like reducing life to its simplest form. What does a baby need? And that's what I share with folks that, anxiety's at an all-time high, depression, there's so many things going on. It's like, how can we simplify life a little bit?
So speaking on your business, so how do you engage people? How do they find out about you and what you do, and so what would like an initial session or something like that, how would that take place?
Well, you can call us, people find out about us through our website, social media. We're on there. I think it's important for businesses that have purpose to be on there, although it sucks up a lot of time. And it's really hard to manage two worlds. And people find us really word of mouth. That is truly, and we have healthy relationships in the community. We also work with organizations and, the caregivers of the world. And so people can find us, really, online, they can call, but word of mouth. You can Google us, we'll pop up. Replenish Columbus.
A conversation I had with you, not to cut you off, you mentioned to me what was intriguing that you work with. Or you go to the prison systems.
Yeah, I was just there yesterday.
Women who are getting out, and I was intrigued by your interaction with those women who are getting out, that they don't fall back into the same traps that are set for them when they come out.
Yeah, so I was there actually on Wednesday. Today's Friday. So this is a big topic of discussion. I went to the prison to observe a curriculum. They have an entrepreneurship curriculum for these women that may be getting out soon. And as I was sitting there observing, I realized, we're talking about entrepreneurship, but they don't even have a bottom line management with their self-ownership.
Yeah.
How do we navigate our emotions? Like, we're skipping the steps. We gotta come back to. And this is, for people who are incarcerated, but in general, the curriculum that we do is a somatic practice. Somatic practice is a blend of, you could be yoga, body movement, meditation, mixed with study from getting online, showing how that is, but it's all intermixed so that the education is holistic and not just like a linear approach. And there's a lot of research that supports the learning, being able to digest the information. A human being now has to engage the senses. We need to be fully active. Also to get people's attention because, our attention spans are very short. So the curriculum, the programming, the human-centered programming is becoming really important to even have a community. You have to have a core program, which is our care program. Look for us for that, because that's what we're really good at, is being this core program that renews the energy and wellness. Centering your community in wellness is the way to do that, right? Because the human being needs that support, but also it creates renewable energy because now everybody is sharing in this this curriculum that supports cleaning out the debris of what happens when you're in community with all these people together, especially when the people are not all present because we're traveling dimensions now. So you're gonna need a program to bring people back to earth. And the care curriculum and space is a part of that. Like when you come into Coach's space, it's engaging the senses. It's drawing you into the present moment. And that is really important, and people can overlook that. It's like, oh, well, we have a program and then the space is not right and the kids are like not able to focus, right? So I don't know if I'm answering the question or if I digressed.
Yes.
The human-centered programming is what we are moving on a mission to do, because we know it's a vital need in every industry. And we want to do that on the corporate dime, because corporations have money and they need us. And I want to use some of that money to really support ground level, having everyday life people having care accessible, because that's part of the acronym, right? The A in care is accessibility. So we're going to be creating care wellness days where people can come and go for free. So how do we do that? So we are really strategizing ways to find funding so that we can have consistency with these care wellness days. Really proud of that, because that's something that we're going to stand for. And there's monies I know we're economically, there's so much going on nationwide with small business and middle scale businesses. And there's other pathways. We just got to remove the ego a little bit and get out of our own way. And so we're in that strategy space, and it's working out, because we're in transition as a business of 17 years. Like I said, the business is the vehicle, and what really needs to be protected as a co-founder, my number one job responsibility is to protect the integrity of the purpose. And so if the vehicle starts running out of miles, I'm not attached to that. We're going to figure out a way to get out of that, to move on to the new world of what we're going to be doing. So we're kind of in that space right now, but the programming is moving to the forefront, and we're really just grateful that we're in challenge, but I think that's where grace comes in, God's grace, where we were before our time with the offerings that we had. People didn't understand what we were actually doing for a long time. And now the stuff that we actually do very, very well, that was the invisible labor, is now what the world needs. And so I'm like, thank you for God's grace. I think that's what grace is for me,
So you had mentioned to me this week that y'all were moving to another facility. So explain to the people the thought process that you shared with me and the blessing that it is moving back.
So, we're good stewards, and as far as our partnerships. And so this space that we're moving back to, we actually started at. And the owners of the space called us up right at the nick of time, because the space we're currently in, big corporation coming through saying, hey, we're going to knock down this space and you got to go in 4 to 6 months. And that's a big deal for a business that's been there. Yeah. Literally people come in off the streets. We're a refuge in the midst of city life with all the noise. But the space is right down the street, right? And so it's not going to be the same concept, though. We've filled so many people's cups. Replenish means to fill or to make new. So that name is expiring. And so this new space will be called Homeostasis Refillery. It will be a membership-based, the social wellness club. We want to see how we can move care really fast, and we want to target executive leaders, humans that are holding purpose, that have access to groups of people. We want to fill them up with education, making sure that they have access to wellness, education, conscious care on the go. So that's one aspect of our business, and then the other aspect, so we're splitting into two in a way, is Care Well. The Care Well mission is our spa experiences, but we're going to be able to take that on the go. So there are some organizations that are going to center wellness, and we're basically going to go into their organization and do the massage and the facials and all of that at different spots in the city, so we can dispatch the care. And then the Care Wellness Days keeps us accessible, right? We can't lose that. The membership base is still going to provide accessibility in the long run, because these executive leaders, people who have more weight of responsibility, will be able to now share all of this work to all of their networks, right? So that's why that matters. And on ground level, what if people can't afford to do, to come and receive care, we're going to make sure that we have the care wellness days accessible.
Yeah, because when, and like you said, in these times, economic times, when money starts, funds start getting short, the first things they want to cut are the programs that probably should stay in place.
Oh, absolutely.
And like I said, we've always got money for bombs, but never money to, what is it? Detroit, that water's still messed up. Or was it Flint? Flint.
Yeah.
How many years has that been going on?
It's double digits, I know that for sure.
Yeah. And it could have been fixed. I think I read something somewhere where it could have been fixed with $3 million or something. And this was like years ago. So, we have money. We find money for those things that they deem, when I say they, I mean the power structure, they deem necessary. But programs for kids, for schools, for the less fortunate, homeless. I went. We went to my wife's she's in the Rotary, and I went with her once. They do a feeding for the homeless vets.
Okay.
So I went, and I'm a veteran, and I was like, this is a shame. We've got these guys who've gone out, sacrificed, come back. But mental, and some of them were mental, physical, and now they're homeless, and we can't take care of them, even though they went and did their part. The other government's not holding up their part of taking care of these guys.
Yeah, we can't wait on the government.
No.
Right, and so that's what we got to get. We have the genius and intelligence as Black people. We've done it before. We've done it before. So how do we, on ground level, we have to belong, like even people that work in corporations, I feel like there's a system that they work for and they have to be accountable for, but also if you have a powerful role and you're able to so that's why relationship matters. And that's how we're getting into the door. We're talking to human, let's talk to you, versus there's a system in play that blocks the blessings. And so instead of, yes, we know that, it's like, okay, our relationship matters more. And when you have that connection, that's why connection is important, the doors start opening up because the person is is on the line of corporate monies and then also understanding that I'm human. I'm not just, you don't own this corporation. Like, how do we work together here?
No, corporations are people.
Yeah, they're the people. And it's like reclaim our power.
I was being sarcastic. Remember that ruling that came out years ago?
Well, it's held by the people. It's the production is by the people.
Yeah, that's another story.
Yeah,
corporations are people. I was like, how the heck is a corporation a person? And
it's a mega beast of a person.
When corporations when that concept first came in, they were only supposed to be a corporation for a certain amount of time, and their charter was supposed to be dissolved, and they were supposed to provide back to the community, and a lot of the promises and things that were made that we were supposed to benefit from these programs, whatever. It didn't benefit us. It benefited the wealthy few, and some few dollars may trickle down to us here or there, but for the most part, it doesn't really benefit the general public as a whole, So.
And all of this is like a distraction too. And again, if we reduce things down to its simplest form, and we start with the communities we're in right now, what needs to happen? Like today, what can I do today? If I see somebody on the, if I go to Upper Cup or, what can I say? What can I do to make an impact, right, day to day? Because I feel like I know what's going on in China and Australia. We're so far out, and it's just occupying our energy and time to try to solve all of these mysteries. And it's like, it's making us skip over our own families. I'm coming home rushing because I just, I've been online and saw this happen. Now my son is not getting the attention he needs. So it's like, okay, how do we reduce this down? And how do we take it moment by moment, day by day, week by week, month by month? Like just, because it's so much.
I always say that we have failed. I always say that I have failed to pass down the spiritual and the experience wisdoms to the next generation, to pass down to the next generation. Yeah. For we're fighting wickedness in high and low places. So you have to put on that breastplate of righteousness to fight off the wiles and the arrows of the wicked. And we know, we just talked about Flint. Before that, we had in Louisiana, you know, you had that Cancer Alley, where they were shown dumping waste, radioactive waste, all kind of waste on the people in that area, and they were getting cancers.
Right.
So these experiments have been going on for centuries on our people. And I have learned and continue to preach, teach, and educate that you have to have that spiritual component to combat these. These are wicked entities that we're facing.
How do you get in touch with the spirit? What would you share with us?
I meditate and pray daily when I get up, and I take time out to thank the Creator for all that He has done, she has done for me, just to wake up and start that day, and to acknowledge and repentance for things that I might have done right, the people that I might have done wrong unwillingly, and sometimes you hurt people without intentionally doing it, and the experiences and learning yourself, from the dysfunction that we were taught. So I say, through prayers and meditation and acknowledging there is a superpower within us that we can tap into, that we can fight all these wicked substances, directions that they're trying to allure us into. So that is the way that I tap into it. Without, I 2 hours a day. I started off with 15 minutes, and I needed more nourishment. So a half hour became an hour, and like John, I picked up a guitar, never knew how to play, and I started making up psalms. And every morning I get up, that's part of my routine. I just play the guitar, and through ear and through spirit. And that gets my day off to a grand start, grand rising, and that's how I do it. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
This-
I ain't got nothing to say about that.
Yeah, that was it. That was it right there.
Well,
Another practice.
One thing I have noticed, man, is like when I was growing up, it didn't matter what you were doing Sunday morning, you were gonna go to church.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's.
No, tell them where you tell them what area the country was born. Born and raised.
It's North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
And man, I'd be like, I don't want to go, but you going, So, and now, even I'm guilty of that. Even now with my son, I didn't make him go to church.
Yeah.
When he was growing up, back then I hardly went myself. But you live and you learn, and spiritual. I think sometimes we put a lot of stuff into religion, but not spirituality.
Yes.
Because you got all these old sin, like when I was growing up, women can't do this in the church, women can't do that, you can't be a preacher. I don't know if anywhere in the Bible it said that a woman couldn't do certain things.
She put her ties in there, though. She better put her
but a lot of that stuff was religiosity and not spirituality, and I think that's what we're getting away from that. Like you said, with the AI, with the computers, with
the study of the church, though, right? Like the spirit was present, but it was covered up by the dogma, by the politics of like who owns the space. This is what we do here. You wear long skirts, or you kind of, whatever that is. And I went to, because I am more spiritual. Something was calling me back into. I think life is a study. It's a study, and it can get really interesting when your spirit just leads you to different spaces. So I grew up Baptist.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, and then we just kind of fell off, and and I just feel like belonging to anything so deeply causes separation. So I like to keep it open. But I went to church not too long ago, and it was more of an observation, and I was missing the song and the spirit, and the music and the just old school church, right? And then I started reducing it down to its simplest form, outside of all of the things that church comes with, all the judgments of like rules and regulations. Okay, spirit is still here. So what's here? It's communities there. Like what? So we have to think about why that mattered. And then it doesn't mean that it needs to be church, but then where are the spaces that create that? Like community centers can be a new church, can be a church for a young girl or boy who doesn't have a family, stable family. So instead of, you know, everybody has to do it this way at this thing, and that's the only way you're going to go to heaven. You know, what took me out of the church was I was at a Seventh-day Adventist church, and a man came up, and I was probably like 12, and he was like, "Well, if you want to go to heaven, then you need to be at this church." And I was just like, even as a kid, I was just like, this is...
Seventh-day Adventist?
Yeah. It was Seventh-day Adventist. If you don't want to go to hell, is what he said, you need to come to this church. And I was like, wow, my spirit was like, this ain't for me. The wick is right here.
I don't think
so I didn't like that. But, you know, at the end of the day, I do think it's about, like, the essence of something.
Yeah.
You know, what is the essence of church? We don't want to deny that. They built that on the essence, and then from that became this control, you know, whatever this is. So it's like, how do we get to the essence?
Not to cut you off. What was the percentage of women that service that you went to compared to the man that the church you went to?
It was very, they was rocking at 9 o'clock. I mean, it felt very equal.
There was just as many men?
Yeah, it was like kind of an older school church where people just like wanted to feel that old school church vibe, Baptist or non-denominational, I believe it is. But yeah, it was good. It was like both and.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Because I said that to say that mostly in a lot of churches you have the majority of clientele there are women.
Yeah. I mean, the honoring of the human being, though, is, you know, the honoring of the body, the fact that we wake up and we can right now just like breathe, right? Like just literally, I'm blinking my eyes, you know, like, I also think we need to do that. Like we need to really know, like when you're born, if a child knows that beauty is your birthright, joy is your birthright, like how do you unpack that? How do you discover that within yourself? How do you be a scientist of your own life, even in the face of adversity and challenge? Without challenge, there's no evolution. It's like teaching kids these curriculums that break through every line of demarcation. That's my goal. If I'm holding space with young people, how can we defy gravity, but also like break through all of the constructs that keep them suppressed, oppressed, right? And now I'm telling the white people too, wealthy people, privilege, because you can be spiritually spiritually broke. And now in the spirit of the time, in the age of tech and AI, spiritually broke is not where you want to be. That means your energy's low. You're not going to know how to manage crisis within the self because money can't take that away. You actually got to do the work now. You need us, right? So let's come together here, people, because this is where you can't hide. You can't run and hide because privilege has prevented some from going spiritually into like, you know, not having money, you build spiritual strength. Having money, you can get complacent, lazy, and you know, you can just be like, I'm depressed, but I'm gonna go buy a car and just feel better for a second. Until that runs out, and then you buy a plane, and then you just keep going. But for us, this is why I think as Black people, us knowing the self is like the way, this is the Underground Railroad, right? It's like, this is, you know, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just things look different. But the North Star is within us now. It's like really sitting with the self and observing, you know, reflecting on your lived experience, whether positive or negative. Like I tell young people, reflect back on when you were a kid, right? And you've overcome that challenge, even because sometimes they're like, don't talk about that because if they come from trauma, okay, yeah, you had some trauma, but you are here now. So let's reflect back with curiosity and not judgment, so that we can look at the whole sphere of the challenge. And there's so much power and knowledge in that. Now you get to know yourself so clearly, like, oh wait, adaptability is a superpower because that's what I use to get from this challenge to that challenge, or, you know, it may be another skill set. Maybe, what's one of your skill sets that you know from a child, John, that you know that you can still rely on? Because yeah, we have our resumes and we have the job responsibility, but when we show up in the job, you're actualizing that job with your personality and your traits. And so that's where the world is moving now. It's not about necessarily just job qualifications. People want to know, what are you good at actually, and what is your lived experience?
Because jobs are going away.
They're going away. How do you move information? How do you connect? How do you, what would you say your superpower is? Like something that comes to the forefront, or just like a skill set or innate ability that feels pretty prominent in your life? One way to look at this is, what do people come to you for? Or what do they, you know?
I think mine would be dealing with people, you know, relationships.
Okay.
I say that like sometimes when I was in the military, I'd go off to different places, and I'd come back home, and there was my brother and a cousin. You know, they were just rowdy guys. You know, so I'd have to ask them. I said, okay, who can we go and see that you can't go? That you that you can't go to because you've got in some kind of beef with them or something.
Yeah.
And I never seemed to have that. I never really had a lot of fights or beefs with people.
So then the skill set that's coming to me in hearing this is harmony. You know, like if there's, like, what can we derive from that then? If you never really, somehow you were able to negate that and to like override that, then there's something, so that's the study, right? It may not be harmony. I'm saying that's what I'm picking up on, but for you, and then you start thinking back and letting the patterns affirm you. Like, okay, when I was younger, I did that too, because all of my cousins, you know, you start thinking about.
And I think because my grandson was here, the one that was, I think you met him a couple of times with me. And we'd go out different places, and he said, Granddad, you know everybody.
Yeah.
I said, no, I don't know everybody, but I know, you know, and because it just seemed like everybody just walking down the street or in wherever I was at. So I think that would be it. Just my ability to just meet a stranger and just talk.
And just talk. So yeah, what is that, right? Like that's a skill set. It's just so natural to you that you just think maybe everybody does it because it's just something you do. But when you really start looking at that, it's specifics, you know, and then you can really create the life you really truly desire when we really lean in intrinsically in the self, not just this reaching out. We were taught to reach so far outside of ourselves for all the answers. That's part of the trick. That's the matrix. That's the matrix, right? And so instead, if we, what do you call that? Flipping it the other way. What is that word? When you flip it back to self, then we reclaim the power. Then we're able to navigate life according to our free will, our desires. You know, even within the stipulations and challenges that exist outside, you'll know how to navigate because it's just coming from within. But there's been a dissension, a disconnect from that. And so we have to reconnect ourselves back. And that's why wellness is moving to the forefront. That's why Black people, this is something you don't have to have money to do even, right? And so you can't take nothing away now, like, oh, now I have access to being able to navigate this internal world, and that's where the power place moves are coming from? Yes.
See,
that's what's happening.
Back in the day, you know, we didn't do a lot of mental health or, you know, people just didn't do it. You know, they, not that they couldn't, well, probably couldn't afford it either. But it just...
Well, it's like we had to be secretive because, you know, we could get harmed or arrested or, you know, it's just like, just keep it. And, you know, the Black mama's like, yeah, keep hush, hush. The grandma's like, no, no, no. Don't say a word. Close that door, come off the porch. We're going inside. Yes.
Family secrets.
Yeah, family secrets. But now there's more information available that... and more resources and more tools we can use because we do need to support ourselves, and it is okay to do that. And there's different approaches to doing that. You know, therapy might not be for you, but maybe talking to coach might be something, you know, or running or working out, or, you know, finding one outlet will open up many more. So I think sometimes we feel like we got to take these big leaps And I think if we just wake up and do something small but mighty, that pebble will be able to create the ripple of transformation that we are seeking within the self. Yeah.
Because you had mentioned earlier, and the scripture says that some rich people are poor, and some poor people are rich.
Yeah.
So if you're a billionaire and you're spiritually broke, then you poor as the poorest man on the earth.
Yeah.
So we have been tricked to think that having money,
Means you're wealthy.
yes, means that you have wealth. But the first 4 chapters, I share with the young man, the first 4 chapters of Proverbs, if you have the discipline to lead that type of lifestyle, it shows you're guaranteed to have riches, honor, pleasure, a long, good life, and peace. And add to that, safety. So there's been times when that car should have ran into mine. I should have been in an accident. And you say, hey, if you tried and tested, it's true. But our mindset is that we've been shown these so-called elite black people, white people, Hollywood and otherwood, all these luxury things. So our young folks, well, I'm gonna get this, and
That's what we aspire to.
Yes, they aspire to get that which is it seems like it's pleasurable, but it ends up in misery to a lot of people. And with the attack on a lot of the creative blacks, from Bill Cosby when they wanted he was going to buy the TV station, to the music. And I'm going to the music because I was always a music lover, but men was more vulnerable. If you listen to the old school jams, which I love listening to, the men spoke about vulnerability in their music.
Yeah,
yes, I love you, you love me. That's the way it's going to be. Intruders used to shout it out, Stylists and all those groups. But I still enjoy sometimes I'll get with Old Sharp and some of the other young guys and say, man, I'm gonna play me slow jams, listen to a little jazz, but just getting away from the vulnerabilities of love or loving somebody and caring for somebody, and being hard, and I'm from the ghetto, and I tell people, man, hey, you want to live, you don't want to survive.
Exactly.
Surviving, man, that's war.
You want to thrive.
You want to thrive, not just survive. You hit it on the head, John. So it's always, and my thing is bringing people together of goodwill like we have here today, and spreading the message to the world about how we can come together and heal, nourish, and just it's an honor. I guess when I say I got to get sis on.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you all so much. It's an honor to be here. I mean, and Culture Space is so nourishing just walking in.
Yeah.
I look forward to the natural unfolding that you have taking place in this space.
I'm thankful to John, and like I said, we'll get you and Doc, Harold Lee, and the historian Harold Lee, and I think if we shoot it, and John, the podcast master,
Guru,
the master, Guru, yes, and we can you share this with the public at large.
Yeah,
man.
John, thank you. Thank you for leaning into your innate ability of creativity and like honoring the artist in you. Like part of that story that you shared around. It makes sense that you're doing podcasts. It makes sense that there's a connected conversation happening based on what you're saying about yourself, about your bravery of like being unafraid to get to know somebody. Like that's an innate ability. That's a superpower, and we appreciate the work the seeds that you're planting in the world and the archives that you're creating that we can return to remember.
Oh yeah. I've got our archives. I think what was it during COVID? They did. Maroon Arts got me to do this video for them of. So they had a lot of different artists do the National Black Anthem, and so different people sang a different verse. And so Marshall or Sherry came to me and they said you're probably the only person in the town that has all the archives of, because I've been shooting stuff for like 20 years since I've been here in Columbus. And, when I first started, there were no cell phones. Well, they were cell phones, but they weren't shooting video.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I had a video camera, so I used to shoot a lot of stuff in it. So, and I think I got that from my mom, because she always used to take pictures. I've got all of her old photos, old black and whites, all of her old photo albums, and I'm just like, Mom, there's no baby pictures of me though. There's no baby pictures of everybody but me.
Were you hanging on her and she was taking the picture?
I don't know.
That could have been possible.
Yeah, she's got pictures. So I've got tons and tons of photos and art videos and stuff.
She's like, no, son, you're going to be remembered by your purpose. You got a big purpose out here.
Now, what can you, the thing is that all that treasure that you get, how can you present it?
Yeah, preserve it too.
I think
It's a library.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and I'm working on a documentary with one guy on the Backstage series that started at the Lincoln. They have this concept where they wanted to have the artists and the spectators on stage. So there was like, normally you're like out in the audience. So everybody was on stage, so they called it Backstage. And I think Susan Bradford, who runs the Lincoln, yeah. When she talked about it, I just showed up to videotape it. Because I knew it was going to be something. I didn't even ask them to get paid or anything. I just knew it was going to be something because Bobby Floyd did the first one. And so I videotaped all of those initial sessions. And so then I'd stop, and then another guy started videotaping some of them, David Bailey. So we're working on a documentary of that, which is just about finished. And the next one I've got is the Poindexter stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's big. That's beautiful.
I was working with Dr. Jeffers, and that's when I first met you.
Yeah.
At Dr. Jeffers'
So how long have y'all known each other?
At least 10, 20, at least 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Dave, he was in the group at the Ashburn, New Step on the hillside.
Yeah.
I got a picture of him and there was three of them called New Step. David, R&B young guys. David, he been doing that.
Yeah, he's pretty good too. He's good.
Yeah.
But I think that's the next one that we're gonna do. That talks about the whole how they wanted to tear Poindexter down and rebuild it. And it was funny when we were out there when they were doing the dedication of the museum.
Shelby, right? Yeah.
Yeah, one of the guys that I was working with back in the day on it, he was fighting to keep one of those buildings as a museum. And they wanted to tear them all down. And so then I was talking to him, he said, it's funny, the same people that are up here now taking credit for this museum are the same ones that were pushing to tear the whole thing down.
Oh, yeah. Right, sure. You're going to have that, yeah.
So, but just...
The tree doesn't bear its fruit until it's timing, and when it does, we all chime in.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, treasures that you have to present to the community, because a lot of that history is lost. I see so much of it lost. I'm a
it lives in us, but it lives in you. It lives in us.
Exactly.
So this connection, this dialogue.
Oh, yes.
That's how we reactivate it.
Yeah, I ran into a guy yesterday at the Dodge Rec Center, Kevin Willis, and we got to talk about the Sullivan Gardens early years. Man, we got to name it. People was like a reunion in there. And when I called my brother up, my oldest brother, I said, "Wow, man, I just had a reunion with Willis." He said, who? And we got to talk about names and people, and that's a blessing. Like you said, when you have those go back and rehash growing up. And I told Brother Willis, Kevin, I said, man, when we grew up in the gardens, it was a village. It later became a project because of the behaviors deteriorated in the community. And that's when it became a project.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to plant a seed here on this live conversation. Is the intergenerational programming. I feel like there is rapid speed with technology. We're like the kids need to hear this. We need to sit in a circle and have programming that really nourishes the circle, so that we can hold the space for our elders to really share, and also the young people to share simultaneously, so we can connect. We can fill the gaps of misinformation, right? Because it's like some things remain to, like, we need the disrespect that's happening to our elders. We have to. This my generation. I'm in my 40s. I'm like, we gotta do something quick because I'm gonna be 80 here in a minute. We ain't gonna be nothing left. There's not gonna be no facility that's kind enough. And also no stories to share because we all forgot because we've been dumping all of this memory into data banks that we don't own. How do we own where we put our data? How do we own that? How do we create our own AI agent that is a caring agent, that now is an agent that they want and they want to pay big dollars for because they need our agent? That's where we're headed. Will.i.am, I'm sharing this because if Google Will.i.am and what he's creating, he's the Black Eyed Peas. He has a business right now that he is focused on generating these agents and having people have ownership of them. So it's like stock. This is where it's like you want to invest in these agents. And so how do we do that? What is the best approach for Black folks to be able to, this is a powerful move if we're able to do this. So then we're able to own the real estate of that. Is it a real estate? It's own the agent. It's almost like real estate, because it's virtual, it's in the cloud, but also it's an actual agent now because these robots are going to be rolling past us on the streets here in a minute. I'm just saying, I'm a little freaked out by it. You're probably going to find me, somewhere really safe because I don't like where we're headed. I'm trying to embrace it in a way, and so I'm sharing this to the young people. Maybe they have energy to do more research on these agents and
I told somebody the other day. I said the Terminators can't be far behind.
When they talk about erasing your history, you're on the list next. They're going to erase your culture and your people next. We did a project at J. Ashburn Youth Center, and we had the young people at the center interviewed all the elders. And it's in the archives of the Hilltop Library. And all those elders, myself and a few others, all those other elders have deceased, they're joining their ancestors. But what you're saying is that was just a pleasure that the young people interviewed us. And the history that each person shared was different, but it's all pertinent to those young people. And what it really brought to my full attention was the interest that the young people took and the love that they cared in interviewing and what they got out of it. Something much
so
needed.
Fruitful.
Yes.
So fruitful. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate both of you.
Thank you. Thank you, sis. Much love to the two of you and to the community. Peace, blessings, love.
Ashe.
Thank you. We got to do it again.
Yes, indeed.